Welcome to another tutorial video on Tkinter, and Tkinter is used for creating graphical user interfaces in Python. And in this video tutorial I'm going to be going through how to use the pack method, and it's one of the methods you can use to lay out your geometry, so where your buttons and your labels and your things like that are going to appear in your window. First of all, to demonstrate this, I've got to define 3 buttons. Okay, so I've defined 3 buttons there, and in previous tutorials you'll have seen me do something like this. I say the variable name for the button, so our number 1 button, and then you'll have seen me do something like this, .pack, and then like that. And if I do that for all 3 of my buttons, we're going to see all 3 of our buttons when we run the program stacked one on top of the other. Okay, so that's our window there. We've got all 3 buttons stacked one on top of the other, and that is the default setting for the pack method, and that is the same as having this parameter that we can put into the pack method called side. That is the same as having that set to top. Okay, so if we run that code, then we're just going to get the same result, because that is what our pack method is doing by default, having side set to top. What we can also do is set side to left. And what that will do is it will put all our buttons to the left like that. So in the order that we pack them, it's going to put 1, 2, 3 in the order that we've packed them on the left hand side of the window, not one on top of the other. We could also do this for right. And then our buttons will be aligned to the right first, so our 1 will be put on the right hand side first, our 2 will be put on the right hand side first, and our 3 will be put on the right hand side first. The other thing we can set side to is bottom, and that, as you might expect, will start packing the buttons into the bottom first. So it'll put 1 at the bottom first, then pack 2 on top of that, and 3 on top of that. Okay, so those are the 4 ways you can use the side parameter. And that's all very well, but what if we wanted our buttons to be equally spaced in our window, even if the user resizes the window? What we can do to achieve that is use expand. And if we do that, you'll notice that no matter how I resize the window, there's going to be an equal amount of space in between our buttons. And before, when I had set because by default the expand is set to false, so if I show you once again what it looks like when it's set to false, they're all just stuck to the left hand side. So that expand true can be useful for spacing out your buttons. Another thing we could do is change the size of our buttons, and we can do that by giving them some internal padding. And the way we do that is we say iPad X equals 10. I'll give our button 10 units of internal padding along the x-axis. And you could do the same for the y-axis. And let's have a look at what that looks like if we've got our button number 1 with 10 units of padding along the x and 10 along the y. It looks like that. So you can see we've made our number 1 button much bigger than the other ones by giving it some internal padding. We can also give our buttons external padding, and that's done by just doing pad x 10 and pad y equals 10. Let's run that and see what we get. So you can see that if I move that window over here, you can see that our button 1 has got 10 units of space outside it on the X, and 10 units of space outside it on the Y. Because if we try and reduce the size of that window on the Y, you can see that our button 1 is getting smaller, and that's because we've set that padding in there, and our button 2 and button 3 are just staying the same size. And that will make our buttons fill up all the available space along the X-axis. So if I run that now, our buttons are stacked one on top of the other, but no matter what size we make the window, our buttons are going to fill all the available space along the X-axis. If we set the side to left again and change these to Y, we can do the same for the Y-axis. So you can see no matter what size we make the window here, our buttons are going to fill up all the space along the Y-axis. So that's another parameter you can use. Okay, so that's just a brief introduction into how to manipulate the position of your Tkinter UI elements using the pack method. It's one of the more limited ways of managing your geometry, and I'll show you some different ways you can do it in future tutorial videos. Okay, I hope you found this tutorial video useful. Thanks for watching.